Формирование качественной и привлекательной городской среды не только стимулирует развитие строительной отрасли, но и существенно расширяет внедрение в нее инновационных технологий. Новые технологии не только меняют жизнь города и горожан, но и создают возможности для нового высокотехнологичного бизнеса. Что ждет строительный рынок в будущем? Почему фронт
The formation of quality and attractive urban environments stimulates the development of not only the construction industry, but also significantly expands the introduction of innovative technologies. And new technologies not only change the life of the city and citizens, but also create opportunities for new high-tech business. As part of the session, real estate market participants will discuss the role of business in creating a comfortable and safe urban environment. In addition, on the agenda is a discussion of new mechanisms for interaction between industry leaders and innovative developers and startups. I invite to the stage, ladies and gentlemen,
генерального директора Альфа
Pavel Kucheruk, Deputy CEO of Alpha Open, Guy Eames, Chair of Russian Green Building Council, Alexei Perlin, CEO of SMU6 Investments, Andrei Chernucha, Deputy CEO, Head of HR and Organization Development Functional Line of GALS Development, Maxim Shefel, Vice President, City Management of Skolkovo Foundation, Maria Peshkova, Operational Director of Gaskar Group, Alexander Gelik,
Gaskar Group,
Founder and Chairman, Gaskar Group, Founder and Chairman of the Board, Osnova Group,
энергоэффективных технологий фонда Сколково.
and Mikhail Tykuchinsky, Development Director and Energy Efficiency Cluster, Skolkovo Foundation.
Петр Кирилловский, директор по продукту группы компаний ФСК. Михаил, вам слово.
Добрый день, уважаемые коллеги. У нас сегодня
And Pyotr Kirilovsky from FSK Group,
среда для жизни.
and Igor Afanasyev.
Среда для жизни. Так,
Yes, good day, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, the good environment of living is most important for all the present in the conference. And here we're talking about technologies. This is most relevant for those who are living with technologies all the time. And we are talking about city of dreams. And we are not going to talk about dreams only. We will speak about technologies which are influencing our lives. And we will speak with those who are implementing and introducing them and those who are developing them. The city of dream.
про нас.
Being in Skolkovo, I would like to say that this is about us, and I'm really proud of what we have done in the recent 10 years in Skolkovo. And it is our pleasure that today we have Maxim Shefel, the city manager from Skolkovo. And this is not only a city of dreams, this is not a comfortable place to live. This is also the platform to develop technologies and to introduce them, and we are doing this on a regular basis. And this can be done throughout everything which you are developing and you are offering. And it's important for me to highlight, we're talking about trends and tendencies, we're talking about what is relevant and what is not. And we are representing the real mechanism of introduction of innovations. And today we are launching the fourth package of Build Up Accelerator, which we are hosting starting from year 2019. This is the biggest accelerator of technological startups in the field of construction and development, and about 600-700 startups go through it. About 20-30 pilots per year with our industrial partners are launched, and these startups are scaled up, they are invested in,
Присоединяется все больше и больше.
and
Когда мы начинали в 2000
more and more partners are joining the startup. When we started in 2019,
помнят, нас было всего трое.
many of you might remember that we were only 3 companies, and this year we have 7 partner companies, which is opening great opportunities for startups, and a huge market can be seen behind them. So that is why the perspectives and opportunities are huger and bigger year by year. And of course, separately, we will focus on import replacement this year, which is expanding the possible solutions which are going to be interesting to all of us, and we will review them all indeed. In the Build Up program, we are helping the innovational companies to test and get feedback from the owners and top management of big companies. And what is important, we are able to test very fast and to calculate the economic effect and to prepare your projects for scaling up. And before I move to the discussion, do I have a clicker? Oh, there it is.
коротко
Just in short,
фокусируемся в рамках
what we are going to focus on within our program, together with the partners you can see on the stage. We have 4 main areas.
направляете QR-код, то я предлагаю
If you want to use the QR code, I suggest
использовать вот этот.
that you use this one. You will find all the detailed information. I'm not going to do the presentation and full-fledged discussion. We'll just discuss what is relevant, and then you will be able to read more information about them on the website. That is why I announce Build Up 2022 is open.
Компании присоединяться,
I invite all the companies to apply.
собственно, к обсуждению.
Getting down to the discussion, I would like to give floor
Ручьеву
to Mr. Ruchyov, Alexander Ruchyov,
снова развивает
Asnova group of companies,
development
which is developing the development in the format of smart house, and a great accent is being done on energy efficiency, and we are improving the work with the citizens, and of course great attention is drawn to innovations.
формируется строительная
How do you see the transformation of the developer industry? How it is transforming? How the innovations are affecting your industry and your company in particular? What are the main priorities?
Да, всем добрый день.
Good day, everyone.
Приветствовать участников билдапа.
Welcome, dear participants of Build Up. Yes, the landscape of our construction area is changing rapidly.
Появился новый тренд
We have a new tendency,
замещения. И
Europe replacement, and within this trend, many teams will be able to find themselves.
вот хорошая такая у вас повестка, среда для жизни, да, то есть
The agenda is really good, actually, so the environment for living. We went through COVID, and it actually launched
да, то есть там
the whole environment. We can see that the workspaces are changing. More attention is being drawn to the public areas, some new
в городе.
leisure activities
Вот я думаю,
which are appearing in the cities.
сейчас Z, как я его называю,
And I think that the Z hour, how I call it, is going to continue
новый тренд,
these changes.
который
And we will see absolutely new trends which are going to form both the outlook of the houses and apartments
совершенно другого технологического
and their interiors.
смысла.
Because we will have other understanding of the notion smart house and the environment for the living. And the security and the work are going to be at the forefront.
Дать
And of course, we need to give both the businesses and the citizens and the occupants
они продвигали свои услуги.
the possibilities, new chances and possibilities. So because some of the marketing channels have died and some of them are feeling complications. And I think that we'll see these trends, such as fragmentation of small business in the areas where they are present.
Будет вызывать
And this
с очень высокой концентрацией,
will cause
может быть, и сервисы там могли развиваться.
new zones with high concentration of living to appear.
Также параллельно, я уверен, получит
The density of population is going to be higher there. And another tendency will be more developed. Some living with low density living with huge green areas. Maybe it's going to be the vicinity of Moscow. Maybe it's going to be the new Moscow, when people are not going to go to work every day and they will search for more comfort. We're living in a very interesting time, I would like to say.
будут на рынке доминировать.
I'm confident that these trends are going to be dominating in the market, and this huge Europe replacement, in some cases we'll have replacement by the Chinese partners, in some cases we'll have the Russian developers who will do this, and I'm confident that this will be supported by large developers who are requiring new technologies. And of course it's going to give a new impetus
Реализации как
in the development and localization of development of some intellectual products inside our company. Thank you.
Большое, Александр Валерьевич. Один вопрос.
Thank you very much.
Внедрение новых технологий с учетом
And speaking about new technologies,
рынка, это
we're talking about unforecastable markets. Is it the capability to get these new technologies? Are they capability to get competitive advantage? Or are we talking about this
скатываться к тому, что
extra options and the industry is going to actually require a simplified product? What do you think?
Наша отрасль сегментируется.
Definitely we'll have segmentation of our industry. The mass segment of the
Продукта
business
будет идти за
industry will face simplification because we'll speak about economy, about availability of technologies.
В то же время вот та
But
отрасль
on the other hand,
в повышенном ценовом диапазоне
speaking about a higher price range,
будет, наоборот, как бы развиваться, ее будет, скорее всего, меньше будет.
the area will be developing.
Технологически я не думаю, что она
And I don't think that technologically it's going to lag behind.
умного дома.
So once again, the interiors of our
Китайские технологии,
smart houses are reoriented for Chinese technologies.
эффект по цене, и это
And this gives us the price effect. And honestly, we don't lose anything in the quality sector.
да,
And once again, we will have the clusterization. The mass segment with simpler solution, which are going to be faster and more reliable, and the segment of higher quality and higher price range, with some additional
которые делают жизнь таких домов.
doodly-doos, which are going to make living in these houses a more prestige. And another trend, it is very hard to invent the wheel once again. That is why we'll have some partnership relations with different companies, with some European companies in particular, because some European companies are staying in the market, some are leaving, of course. But of course, once again, we will see new forms of partnerships and collaborations.
Он как бы сохраняет присутствие на рынке, имеет
And there will be maybe lesser presence in the markets of the foreign companies, and they will be able to deliver their lifts, elevators, pumps to the markets, etc. But another point of growth is creation of partnerships here and now, because the market is
партнерство, которое возникло,
disbalanced, and the partnerships
рынок будут удерживать.
which are going to rise up and occur
тема партнерств на самом деле
will be holding the markets. Yes, partnership is very important for us, of course, and I'm glad to see
становятся партнерами. Надеюсь, что этот тренд будет развиваться. Я хотел бы передать слово
that this trend is developing. I hope it's going to go on developing. I would like to give floor to Mr. Perlin, because SMU6 is joining our partnership for the first time this year,
Вы на самом деле строите жилье в совершенно разных.
and you are building the residencies in different classes, in different segments.
Александр Валерьевич,
And speaking of the trend that were mentioned, you already feel how they are influencing you in particular. What innovations are you planning to introduce, and in what segments do you see it? Are you planning to
или внедрять и инвестировать в проект.
invest into different projects, or maybe you are planning to introduce something new? So what do you see this year, so considering the reality around us?
Друзья, коллеги,
Good day, dear friends and colleagues. Thank you for inviting me.
стали,
Indeed, this year we have become the partners of
на самом деле, это очень
Skolkovo Accelerator.
особенно в этот
And I'm glad to see this indeed, especially in these trying times. But honestly, this moment in time is full of opportunities, and we would like to find new solutions, new offers.
ситуация, которая сегодня есть, мы
To
видим,
tell you the truth,
сталкиваться с
the
теми
situation which we're facing is creating new challenges for the business. Some of them are temporary, but on the other hand, we have to be as efficient as we always have been. We have to be efficient, we have to be fast, we have to be successful from the point of view of economy, and we shouldn't allow our projects
кто может позволить это
to be
сделать.
left behind. How can we do this?
Я сейчас вижу
One of the main things that I see here and now
технологические решения, инновации,
is the new technological solutions.
которые как раз могут сформировать стартапы, вы, и мы действительно очень хотим.
Innovations created by startups, and we would like to find them.
Некоторые продукты,
And since some of the products and technological solutions are leaving the markets, the niches are being released and left vacant. And startups
аналогичный продукт.
can occupy them. We can create the products adaptable to our reality.
Стартап
And we have all gathered here to support the startups, to work on our platforms, and to have our new projects, and to scale them up, and to release them into wide population. We have big developers
есть
which have their own R&D
огромное количество
and
девелоперов,
their IT department.
тоже, среди которых нету своих IT.
And there are big developers and small developers which don't have their own IT experts. And all of us require new
Скажу,
IT products.
готов предложить
What I would like to suggest on my behalf, I'm
инвестиции и
CEO and the owner of SMU6 and STR Construction. I'm ready to test your theories and your products in my projects, in my company, to give you a chance
испробовать те технические
have a little taste of all the competences in the construction sector that we have, to understand it better, how the product is going to be implemented. And we are ready to be the smart investor, to promote your products for ourselves and for the market.
привести пример.
And I wanted to have another example. Being a developer,
Я построил
I have been working in this field for 11 years.
Юната.
I actually created the club field Unati, and we are implementing the Любовь and Любовь и Голуби, the Love and Pigeons
Назад,
apartment buildings. And Clementine apartments in Biberevo have been built on the Kornichuk Street, the comfort class.
голуби, Климент.
These are the projects. The Love and Pigeons and Clementine are interesting for the startups, and together with the accelerator, we can actually take a look at some opportunities and chances to use your technologies. For 5 years, we have been the main
Инвестиционных объектов, но сейчас он активный и
partner of Istra Construction, and they are one of the biggest players in the renovation of Moscow projects.
есть возможность.
And we have been building the residence areas within this project for several years, and we are doing the designs and we are constructing things. And of course, if you have good ideas, you can offer them to the foundation and to the city, and we can use them in our projects. At least try to. In general,
Полным циклом девелоперского бизнеса.
talking about the whole cycle of the
Хотел бы разделить
development cycle. We are the contractors and we are the developers, etc. I would like to say that I personally would like to review several things if we look at these sections and areas. Construction is the first thing we can review. Construction needs digitization, and it is very important to understand that digitization at creating the 3D model and AI during the design is very important. We can do lots of optimizations. So right now we are doing it for half a month, half a year. We are creating a very similar product from time to time, but honestly about 7 or 8 months is spent for design. And when we're talking about AI and big data, it has a great future indeed, and we can actually accelerate the efficiency of design through AI. Digitization in the project management. We're talking about the production and manufacturing process, management of the timelines, and management of data. On one hand, we're talking about big players which have their own IT departments with hundreds of IT experts who are doing this work, but there are also thousands of contractors which require
цифровой продукт управления.
good digital products of project management. And honestly, we don't have it in the market.
Сразу зашивать методологии.
At that, we can have PMI, we can have the good old technologies, which are not developing and creating the wheel here. So, and honestly, we need something like that right now. Also, digitization is important when we're talking about that technical supervision, drones and the assessment of volumes of the work by iPads, etc. Optimization of operational supervision using the construction resources. If you have startups in these fields, they have great future. Digitization, once again, everything digital is very relevant. Technological solutions and innovative materials.
так уж и много, и
We don't have them in such an abundance, and we as developers and the contractors, we wait for their appearance because we want the scientific institutes to work together with startups.
поддержим и технологически.
And then we'll have various suggestions and solutions which are going to be supported by us. So I have been talking to startuppers today. So this guy is not a startupper anymore, actually. He has great projects which are already implemented. And of course, making the prices lower, ecology is very important. And of course, the recycled materials are very important. So this is used and this is important. This is about today. Speaking about the construction of the future. So we are talking about the city of dream. We're talking about some interesting fairy tales. So we have seen the projects of China constructing a residence house in 24 hours. This is just like Lego construction set. So basically we are taking those construction blocks and we are molding them and creating them anew, and so we're delivering them to the construction areas. But we shouldn't mold them, we should just have them on the construction site and gather them and construct through them. These are the technological solutions which are going to change the landscape of construction in general. This is very interesting. China is already doing it. So who cares about Europe right now? I think everything is dying out there, and China is interesting indeed.
Я извиняюсь, да,
I'm sorry for this, yes, comment, and this is about construction and sales.
система ценообразования.
So dynamic pricing system. There are some offers in the market on this, but without statistics and competitive environment in terms of secondary real estate. So they said, like, can you use AI mathematical models to calculate the price of new lots? But if you start sales, if you're just starting, you cannot do it. Wait a minute. We have competitors. We have secondary real estate. You can analyze it. No, that product isn't there. In terms of determining target audience and ideal product needed for a specific audience, big data on checks and how people relocate, if we were able to put it together and have a great app to do it. So that's a major niche, how to increase earnings of developers. Developers, if they had a choice, they would grab that right away. It needs to be done. In terms of operations, operations has two parts, technical operations. If we talk about utilization and creating digital twins of buildings, it's being done. It's very interesting to see how people are moving in the building, how sensors are activated also to efficiently use the resources, and I think startups can do a lot in that sphere. In terms of communications with customers, we also collect a lot of big data on our clients, and I understand it stays with the index or elsewhere, but if you look at most of developers, it doesn't go anywhere. We just gave them the keys. We are involved with operations, but where those customers come from. So which pages they visited, what they say, how they live, what kind of check they have, and so all those things are missing. So there might be some applications that help to deal with their apartment and maybe ask for a permit for access management system. So now is the good time, now is the right time. It's a huge market. I can assure you that developers, pretty much all of them, they do not spend money on IT people. They need to have ready solutions. So that's a major niche, many clients there. So it can be scaled to global level, not only here. So my company specifically can provide and invest and move to global level with Asia, etc. So thank you. I'll be happy to participate in that accelerator. Thank you so much, Alexei. A well-deserved round of applause. You unpacked it in a great way, very detailed. So you all have your perspectives, and you touched upon this thing about the global market.
Я последний месяц, на самом деле,
In spite of all these things, I was talking to international funds actively as accelerators in Promtech. It's one of the few industries where prospects for Russian startups will be,
при всех очевидных ограничениях,
with all the restrictions in place, the greatest, because Russian development market is quite representative. It's large.
на нем
References on this market are relevant for international players.
при определенных
And in specific conditions, startups from Russia in Promtech have great chances on international markets. So you can participate on our program. We'll be working on this separately.
возможный трамплин.
So this can be a stepping ground for you, stepping stone for you to expand to other countries. So let me give the floor to Andrei Chernucha. And like Alexei, this is your fourth one.
Основатели этой
So you're one of the founders of that program. So build up. What it has provided to you over the years, and how your goals, your vision, how they're different this year compared to previous years. Mikhail, thank you. Hello, everybody, colleagues. This is the fourth time that we participate in Build Up. In just a few words, why participate and why we do it 4 years in a row. First of all, for us, it's a benefit and an advantage when we have the joint accelerator, because Build Up from beginning was created as a platform for several developers to find best innovative solutions in the market. And you know, in any company structurally is different from a startup in terms of its size, in terms of its speed and decision-making logic and approval logic for financial decisions. And it's always hard to start working quickly as expected by startups. And the platforms gives a chance to create inside the company a sandbox where following clear rules for participants, the company and them can test hypotheses that we find in the market and which are generated by startups, and you can see how they can help practical problems can be resolved, and then we can evaluate whether we are ready for a major rollout. If we are ready for it, then we may have some major prospects, because it's not about one company, but this year we had 7 or 8 companies participating, so this is a major, large market. And in our program, we share experiences between all the companies at each stage. Every company sees results of pilots of other participants, and so we pilot. Even if each company pilots one solution, we are able to see 7 solutions or results, 7 types of results. So for us, it is also important that this is a fairly large field of different solutions for the problems that we may face. Maybe in the beginning of our program, those problems were not very acute, but we see that last year we had 600 applications, 670 applications for piloting as part of the whole program. So 700 applications. And Startup Village, how many representatives here? 200. So that was done in a short time. So over this time, the company that came, with whom we talked, they evolve, their approaches, solutions evolve, and they're not startups anymore. They become large, good, effective companies, and I can see that some of them are here in this room. Speaking of prospects, demands, requirements that we have for this year. As my colleagues properly noted, we are in the area of changes and as well as opportunities and transformations taking place in terms of client profiles and client expectations, what they're willing to pay for, and also in terms of our vendors and contractors. And today's situation provides a major impetus for import substitution, and it will be definitely done. And even now, over this short period of time, we see active development, and we see that analogs are developed which are not any worse, that are even better than what we had before. And I will second this topic of IT. IT is all over the place in development, in pure development, in construction, in all the back office processes as well, implementing new technologies and solutions. So the logic here, I totally agree that we do not focus our own internal development. We focus on ready solutions that exist, and there are teams that promote them, and we integrate them into our infrastructure. That's the optimal approach for us. It does not require a lot of internal costs to support our own IT staff, and at the same time we get good competencies that can be quickly implemented and bring some fruit. So for that reason, all the participants, please participate in the project. All those that were stated, they cover the full development cycle, life cycle. You can find your own niche. Maturity level is important. It is important for us. It should be the solutions that may be piloted right away, and so you could check what the results are. On our part, we can actively participate in piloting jointly all the solutions with goals. If they are advancing, of course, we will not lose focus of them. Of course, there should be project manager, people responsible for it, and we are focusing on quick results, on low-hanging fruit, on specific activities. Thank you for that, Mikhail.
На самом деле, у разных партнеров вот
Different partners, when we talk about internal development, situation may be different. We have those who invest a lot into internal development, but still it's not a problem to do something else. So that's the value of it. You can work with companies that have different business models, but in the same market, you can see what partnership model makes sense for you to work with. So Gaskar Group, represented by Maria and Alexander. So you have a lot of your own development. You run your own, you roll out your own products, about 10 projects, 10 startups that you invested in, external ones last year. So you combine both internal and external developments. You pilot a lot of things. So what are your priorities with this model? Good afternoon, colleagues, friends. Mikhail, thank you so much for inviting us for a second time to be part of that acceleration program. Jointly with our partner Manatexstroy, we know firsthand what it's like to build from scratch in a very limited time, and when you cannot overspend because of budget limitations. So we developed our own ecosystem. It's called Exxon, and we closed key problems for all the participants of the construction project. Basically, we created electronic document turnover, so we can issue documentation timely, also approval, of work and documentation is done. This issue is resolved. And also quick payment, quick approval, financial documents, it's also done. In this ecosystem, required some startups, and we looked for them last year. So we've been working on this program together. 10 companies joined us, got on board with us, talking about our plans for this year. We see some important objectives for us to approach operations prepared, so utilization is not added in the end of the life cycle, but it's at its very beginning. So we'll populate model with necessary data, updated data that originates from the construction site. We can use various devices, drones, among other things. And once the model has all the data, comments and objective data, objective picture that we get from the drones, so then we will approach operations in the most prepared way. And operations are developed very actively by us now. My colleague will provide more details. Alexander? So, good afternoon, colleagues. First of all, technological environment for life. So, we are saying it should be a safe environment. So, safety of the site, and the site should be commissioned, should be handed over to residents, to visitors, etc. So, we're talking about smart operations. That means that we create an ecosystem that can work with primary data, with inputs. When we talk about construction, and we talked about updated B model, we use it in operations for management, for incident management, for planning, streamlining schedules, operational schedules. And as part of build-up, we look at technological solutions, innovative solutions that may be included in our ecosystem. And that ecosystem can be added. So it can be a low-level system, or it can be middle-level when we deal with business processes, life cycle. I'm not talking about real estate only, but all the relevant. It can be construction or machine building, or it can be done in oil and gas, and also real estate management when we talk about specific facilities or whole blocks. Commercial real estate, residential real estate, those facilities where we implement our unique IT systems. So build-up is an opportunity not only for the participants to demonstrate their innovations, to tell about them and test them at a specific site, but it's also an opportunity for us as investors, as IT companies, to develop a comprehensive solution and illustrate it with a specific example, automation of those business processes, economic impacts, etc. So operations as such give us a chance to demonstrate this synthesis. So from the automation of business processes, where all of us are sure that it's safe to be at the site, to be on site, no emergencies or accidents can happen, because we manage the quality of services provided to the management company, of contractors in this ecosystem, and we have a B model, the whole environment, let's call it environment of common data, which is in our portfolio, and we engage startups to work on that B modeling, like VR, AI, to assess the costs of the project, so to evaluate failures of engineering equipment, which is important for the reliability management. So we are interested in these areas. So Gaskar, as a group of companies, we're looking for partners, and also we invite to participate in our ecosystem. Thank you.
Спасибо большое. Ну,
Thank you so much.
что инвестиции,
So speaking of partnership and investments, I would like to spend some time and discuss some new initiatives that we're planning was initially supported by our partners. So I will name it and then we will look at it case by case. Each company has already tried
в том или ином объеме,
working with some volumes,
на рынке, что
working with startups, and we see that oftentimes startups got investment
вы, наверное,
from one company and others say, oh, you already got some investments from them, but
мы,
so it doesn't look okay for them anymore. But in Build Up, we have this exchange, and it provides additional value. And we were going to do syndication this year with our immediate partners of Build Up. Investments into most promising startups, and both for startups, it gives them additional prospects.
больше
It opens more doors, more support in the market for them, and also for developers who make those investments.
это вот
Maybe you cannot say, oh, it's my startup, but it will be growing faster, and you will be able to earn more from it. So partnership from piloting, but also on the investment side too. I would like to give the floor to Piotr Kirilovsky. Hopefully he's with us online. Alex, yes, I'm here.
Петр, добрый день.
Piotr, hello. Okay.
Хочу поздравить вас.
Okay, first of all, happy birthday. You have a birthday today.
Тем не менее,
Congratulations. But you joined us all the same,
поддерживать нас в этой
and you're participating in the discussion. FSK
компании.
is one of the largest construction companies in Russia. You have your own production facilities. You're a general contractor, technical contractor. So you work with multiple technologies across a wide range of things. So how innovative technologies change your product,
Каких задач
and
в
what tasks or objectives for FSK use innovative technologies?
может быть,
And specifically, speaking of IT, we had different opinions. Having your own IT developments,
внешних и взаимодействий.
we're implementing external startups. So what is your position there? You see it as a positive or as a negative?
Спасибо большое, коллеги.
Thank you, Yuri. Dear colleagues and partners, welcome to Startup Village.
Отлично, но очень
Unfortunately, I couldn't come personally, but I hope that tomorrow I'll be with you and I'll watch
уже не первый год.
closely all the projects. Indeed, we have been supporting Build Up Skolkovo for several years.
Важный и
For us,
активно развивающий наш
it's a very important project of partnership which helps our company to develop as well. Starting from the end of February, we saw new inputs in the field of R&D and for our company. This is a huge
но при этом
trend which corrects our general strategy, but we do understand that we have
Сколково
conviction that we have to remain with Skolkovo. Thus, we will continue working
крупной компании
and to watch through different projects. We as a big company have our own expertise, and our colleagues have mentioned that few developers have their own IT companies and IT teams. We have our own developments
внутренних платформ, мы
in the field of internal platforms.
с точки зрения
We have been doing a lot from the point of view of R&D,
компаниях-партнерах, которые тоже входят
together with our partner companies who are doing the chemical developments,
понимаем, что это не исключает
construction development.
каких-то
We do understand that this does not exclude new projects which are coming from
в
different markets
мы видим, что, конечно,
from outside. And we do understand that this changing market requires
в
us
проект.
to make the projects more efficient.
Сколково
Thus, our request to Skolkovo and other projects has to be efficient, first of all.
это эффективность части строительных
We're talking about the construction processes, the project solutions. We, as a company
проектов
with a huge pipeline of projects, have to provide them with
и,
efficient raw price and high speed of construction.
к сожалению, не можем
Unfortunately, we cannot let ourselves
темы или на какие-то сторонние темы.
to dwell
Мы хотим
on some
фокусироваться достаточно высоко в этом году.
other topics than the main ones.
4 таких
We need to focus this year.
существенными. Это как
And I would like to highlight 4 items which are most important for us. We are talking about efficiency of raw price. Second, procurement.
логистических
We do understand that the topic of logistics
удаленных для нас
chains and the search for partners is most important for us. I believe that this is a bit outside of build-up, but we do see that Skolkovo has a great expertise
каких-то партнеров за пределами нашей
in fields of looking for partners outside of our country. We hope that we'll have some support there. And of course, IT in digitization. Our colleagues have already mentioned that this is most important. We can see Autodesk and other companies leaving Russia, and we really don't know what we'll see in the field of design. We see the complications here and challenges here. In the recent months, we lost
по разным
contact with designers from abroad due to some geopolitical matters.
поддержке
Thus, the support
продуктов и технологий.
of designing using the IT technologies is becoming more and more important.
Рады со всеми
That is why we will be glad
работу в этом билдапе.
to start working with all the projects in this build-up. I hope that this is going to be most efficient piloting, which will lead to efficient partnership of our businesses.
Приводило не только к
I would like to say that this led to pilot and procurement of businesses,
крайне
which became most important and interesting for us from the point of view of development. Thank you.
Спасибо большое.
Thank you.
Надеюсь, что завтра у вас получится ехать. Мы
I hope that tomorrow you will come visit us, because indeed
проектов
we have lots of questions in the Startup Bazaar
и мы
from the field of development. And we'll be glad if you will manage to show them here. I would like to give floor to Maxim Shefel, city manager of Skolkovo.
город сказка, но
Skolkovo is a fairy tale city indeed, but it's also a polygon, a platform for testing. And Maxim takes up a very important task. But since it was a part of Skolkovo's mission,
испытывать, и эта территория должна стать
he's not afraid of it. So this has to be a demonstrational and testing polygon for introduction of new technologies. Thus, it is very important for us that we have both developers and we have external commercial platforms. And we have a huge city of our own which can be used to try things you cannot try outside Skolkovo.
видеть, какие технологии
What do you say?
из тех
What technologies
там все
out of those that developers
не готовы еще,
cannot or not ready to try,
готовы будем
which can be tried in our innovational center? We are ready to introduce them and implement them. And where exactly can you see different technologies being tried?
Спасибо. Здравствуйте всем.
Thank you. Thank you. Good day to everyone.
Немножко отойти от
I would like to
тематики, касающейся
make a step back
вооружений, которые сейчас уже достаточно подробно.
and not to think about buildings and construction and the whole usage of the building topic, etc. So I would like to speak about city environment, where we are right now,
Края
and to walk
инновационного центра Сколково и предложить,
the route
которые можно было бы
from
реализовать в рамках
Innovation Center
некоторых внедрений. Первое.
and to speak about what can be implemented. First of all, we are talking about 400 hectares of land belonging to NGO, and the entrance
Уведомлением
has to be supported by the
в территорию с особым правовым режимом.
notification that this is a special territory where the unpiloted
Разные
machines are driving, where different technologies of face recognition are used, reaction to crowds is being implemented, etc. So all the solutions, when we're talking about the safety, security, the access to the territory, the protection of the territory, everything is supported and can be implemented. Secondly, speaking about the network of the streets and roads, I would like to say that Yandex unpiloted vehicles have been driving here for quite a while. Several thousand kilometers have been driven through. And everything was digitized, and there is understanding that any
в рамках технологий
infrastructure can be digitized. And the technology called VIT-X can make it most comfortable for the digitized
человеком.
transport vehicle, which is not manned at all. This is the second part of development of infrastructure. For example, we already created the projection
Когда пешеходного перехода
transfer, so when you cannot see the
лазерная сетка и пешеходный переход видит и водитель.
unsupervised crossing, so and actually we are projecting the laser
Далее я бы хотел
image of this transfer during the night. So this is very comfortable and people liked it a lot. Together with the government of Moscow,
аэромобильности.
we are launching the Aero Mobility project.
Как на частной территории, на территории
This is a private territory,
быть использована
polygon territory. Thus,
как бы технология
we can use
летательных аппаратов,
the technology of unmanned drones, starting with the small ones, which can film the territory, monitor the territory, up to the cargo drones, which can be launched here. And we can start using these
первая модель
in Skolkovo, using two models.
уже имеет продукт.
First, when the startup already has a product and it provides a service
Там, дочерних обществ или сам непосредственно приобретает эту услугу.
procured by Skolkovo from a startup, and this piloting is done with certification.
Технология, которая, я считаю, может быть использована.
Second technology, which can be used on earlier stages, and we're discussing it right now together with the Department of Science and Entrepreneurship of Moscow City. So it's a co-financing
Технологии на территории
of implementation of technology on the innovational territory of up to 2 million rubles. Here we're talking about the equipment, we are talking about the usage of particular equipment and some salaries, etc. So this is all down for launching to report that this is a workable approach.
метод
Why the second option has greater future?
получается так вин-вин. То есть
This is win-win situation.
пилотное внедрение
Moscow is financing the pilot project,
может быть использовано на территории
which can be used in Moscow in the future. In this regard, Skolkovo,
выступает
the innovative center,
полигоном первым пилотным,
is the polygon
после которого может
after which
применение на всей территории города Москвы тех или иных.
particular technologies can be used
Думаю, что это
on the territory of Moscow. I think that this is unique for our startups.
билдапом
This is not exactly build up, of course. This is not about development right now, but I just had to tell this. So this is the main idea. That's it on my behalf. Thank you.
Ну, тематика строительства и девелопмента, как бы ее, наверное, все-таки неправильно.
Yes, well,
Города просто
construction and development shouldn't be something separate.
развитие. Мы пока по чуть-чуть, вот там на квартальчиках, на доме.
So we are talking about the blocks, city blocks and little houses, etc. First of all, but now we have this
В масштабах города, а дальше
city which is prone to innovation. So we can think about the city first and then we will scale up and be in other cities as well. I hope this is going to be like this. I give floor to Pavel Kucherov.
в Сколково отпилотировались. И в билдапе поучаствовали.
So you have been piloting in Skolkovo, you have been working in build-up, and Web Ventures has invested into you. So, and
Успешно внедряетесь
you are successfully working with large developers.
с разработчиком.
You are the developer of Alpha Logic,
Цифровая среда.
which is a unified common digital environment.
Подводки. Как вы оцениваете эффективность участия в билдапе?
So how are you efficient in the field of build-up? Is it useful or not? And how are you developing the digital technologies in the field of
Какие наиболее
usage? And what are most relevant trends can you see,
не до конца
which
обученные
maybe haven't been announced by the developers enough?
эксперты в этой
You, as an expert,
считаете, технологии будут двигаться?
Да, добрый день.
what do you think? Where are we going here?
Спасибо за Сколково. Спасибо.
Thank you, Skolkovo, for being Skolkovo. Thank you, Web Ventures, Thank you, developers.
Мы создаем новое качество, новые продукты, новые
We
решения.
are creating new qualities, we are creating new solutions, and they are Russian.
Компания на рынке 10 лет, мы разработчик.
We have been in the market for 10 years. We have been developing Alpha Logic, based on which we are developing various solutions. We are talking about industrial buildings, the municipal buildings, the residence areas. We have built lots of buildings in two main regions, etc. And the pilots which we organized thanks to Skolkovo, where we have our platform.
Авторизации мониторинга.
We have the special city center of dispatching. And the next project is
Интегрированный.
Ural chapter of Sberbank.
Продолжаем развиваться.
And we are going on with the development. From the point of view of developers and the life segment, the civil segment, the resident sector, I would like to
Мы видим востребованный,
speak about
на примере гаджетов.
our experience as shown by gadgets.
К телефону как гаджету мы начинаем.
We are all using phones as gadgets. We are getting used to
Если в этой
electro vehicles as gadgets.
обсуждать, что
And if we are discussing what life citizen
пользуются жители, и не только жители, и посетители, то
complex, so what is being used by the visitors, etc. So, speaking about the gadgets,
резидент или потребитель и поставщик, то
the residents and suppliers and vendors
комплекс как
are seeing
есть
the smart city block as a gadget
и
with
управляющие
two
компании. И они же
consumers. It's the supervisory company and the resident themselves, and they are designing this gadget
в плане безопасной цифровой
because they are demanding various things from the points of view of comfortable environments and safe
от этого же
roads, etc. And the supervisory company requires this gadget
организации эксплуатации, в том числе
to
и
be optimized, to have the facility management properly, to have the dispatch services
которые
and other things made properly, which have to be connected and linked together in one digital environment. And the main experience which we have here is that this gadget
как конечный результат проектировать в самом начале
has to be designed in the very beginning of it all,
концепции
during the concept stage,
там, жизненно важных слаботочных систем, инженерных систем.
to design the proper
Уже становится все более
digital systems,
новые решения, в том числе
which are
Сколково,
being more and more digitized,
нашу единую
and we are integrating them into our digital environment.
вот есть у Гаскара facility management с ним.
So there is the facility management like Gaskar has. We are working with it as well. Why? Because this
Именно спроектировать.
digital environment, this properly developed and designed gadget, is going to live on and it's going to be demanded by the supervisory company because developer is leaving the stage at some point and this digital environment has to develop. It has to live on. And this has to be considered when you are designing any type of living quarters.
Наш опыт проектирования таких
We need to share our experience of the design of such residence area, and we are also participants and working with different partners.
решений Минцифрами.
And the Ministry of Digital Development and Ministry of Construction is creating digital standards for
Площадкой пилотирования
multi-story building, the residential building. We are talking about various solutions for the residents of Skolkovo who are offering their solutions to the developers within the build-up program, and thus we can use them throughout our digital projects. And we are offering new capabilities to test things for our startups, to scale it up, to roll it out. And for build-up, they can be this link
новых цифровых стандартов.
between us and the new digital standards.
Что касается самого билда,
As for build-up itself,
мы в ней участвовали.
it's a really awesome
Участвовать опосредованно.
project because we are still
Площадка,
participating in this digital platform.
профессиональная цифровая площадка, которая, вернее,
It's a professional
помогает
platform
цифре, которая на самом деле без
which helps
проектирования цифр,
this digital world, which is unlimited, starting with design, supervision, usage, which allows to create
меняем.
the end-to-end solutions which we unite together. Thank you very much.
Вы мне сейчас подсказали классную
You actually suggested a great idea to me. We haven't thought about it yet.
за 3 года,
Indeed, in 3 years,
если не считать просто подаваться,
if we don't consider the
даже те, кто
first startups, so those who have lived through the piloting cycle,
50, наверное,
we're talking about 60 companies already.
компании,
These companies,
со всеми практически на связи,
so of course we're working together with them all the time,
менторы,
they can be the mentors
подросшие успешные стартапы,
because they are successful already. They grew up and they are interested in looking for new partners.
привлекать в том,
Let me try to attract them when we are working.
вы как
Но мы это, собственно, и предложили.
Yeah, that is our idea indeed, because the complex solution, this unified digital environment, is a combination of different solutions which creates one result. Speaking about Prime Park, for example, we have integrated all the engineering and other subsystems, smart parking lots, etc. So we integrated about 7 information systems from different suppliers into one solution.
дополнять наше партнерство.
Yes, indeed, we will need to work with our graduates and alumni in particular.
Всю
I think it's going to
хотел бы передать слово Гаю Имзу.
be a great thing to all the ecosystem. Guy, I would like to give floor to you. So you are working in the high-end technologies and you are the head of the Russian Association in the field of green building and construction. So this is the biggest organization here in Russia and you are the link with the international expertise. So, unfortunately,
более,
recently this communication channel is becoming more and more complicated, but you are still working here and you are sharing your experience with us. What do you say?
то, что мы обсуждали сегодня,
The topics which we have been discussing, are they relevant to the world tendencies and trends?
еще то, что
Basically,
инновационным
those things which are considered to be innovative in the world,
соответствуем этим трендам,
are we actually relevant to these trends? Or maybe there are some new trends which are more important. Maybe we're missing out on something.
Misha, hello.
Yes, thank you, Misha.
Не все иностранцев уехали, и
Yes, some foreigners are still here. And I would like to say that there are foreigners which love Russia a lot. And we believe in Russia and in its future. We are ready to work here, especially in the field of ecology and environment. So we believe that these environmental crises are more important than politics. I'm optimistic all the time. And I would like to say that some links are not severed yet, so it is impossible to cut those links with Europe, with the US overnight. So they will remain. Some of them will definitely remain. And speaking of your question, the topic of this session, so the city of fairy tale, we can see new cities being built up.
если мы вспоминаем, как 10-20-30 лет назад
If you remember how 20, 30 years ago they were building, so today's projects are like a dream. Like Maxim was talking about Skalkovo that was erected here in the last 8 years. It took 8 to 10 years to build it. I remember when it was just a field 10 years ago. They had some agricultural lands here, wheat and cabbage, and some high-quality cabbage, and there were cows out here. So the first building was built in 2013, Hypercube, and then road network was introduced, etc. So out of 3.7 million square meters were built, only 900,000 were built. So it means we still need to do a lot. Almost 3 million square meters to go. Okay, we'll help you. We'll find investors to do it.
Да, конечно, почти
But so 1.5 million are being constructed. It's in progress.
международная система
And certification, international certification system of green construction, they're used. So we talk oftentimes about safe, comfortable environment like city of dreams for everybody. But for me, it's a place where
Действительно, это безопасный источник.
it is safe and also climatically. So we see more and more
Отсадка, да, когда
precipitations like hurricanes or heavy rains. We see how cities suffer from that, like Sochi or sometimes in Moscow, in Siberia, where we have some forest fires. So those cities should be built in such a way they would not feel that it's dangerous. So we have 10 centimeters of precipitation, or there's a hurricane. It's still safe, so we can model it. We talked about mathematical models. So we can model and build buildings that can withstand those conditions and which are comfortable at the same time. A comfortable city, from our perspective, and cities are competing with each other, should be beautiful for people, so they can look out of the window and see that there's an ecosystem there. And I'm saying this because for developers in Russia and elsewhere, it becomes more and more important. A global trend in terms of green technologies is one of the decisive factors when we talk about specifics and current political issues. We can still say that green technologies work as an accelerator thanks to Russia. Europe wants to switch quickly to green technologies. Maybe it would take 20 years. But what if Europe is able to do it in 2 or 3 years, to switch from gas to coal and to nuclear? 400 billion euros will be spent in EU on this. That means that it's an opportunity for Russian startups that would like to fill that gap. If it says made in Russia, maybe it will be impossible to break through, but those technologies will end up elsewhere in other markets as acceleration. Regardless of the political situation, also wanted to say that I look with optimism at the exit of European and other companies, because you have more opportunities in environmental technologies and with export potential going forward. And it's very important. So for that reason, speaking of technologies, so it's a gradual transition to autonomous homes, it's transition to digitalization across the full life cycle of a building. To build super environmental buildings, efficient buildings, you should use not only BIM modeling, but you should forecast energy consumption, how comfortable it is, etc. So digital technologies are key in this mega trend in this area. And we see many startups here who represent various green technologies. Some of them, Tion or microclimate, thermoglass. So those technologies have a lot of demand in global markets. So, and in Russia too. So this is a very brief speech. I see you're very optimistic. I'm happy that we participate for several years now, and we have more and more partners. Thank you, Mikhail. Thank you. I'm happy that you supported my optimism and the optimism of startups that accessing international markets in this segment. This is something to pay attention to. You said
вокруг должно быть
that it should be beautiful around us. When we talk about green technologies, it's not only about technologies, but for the cities to be good, we should have green areas, like in Skalkova. From what I remember, the initial master plan included 30% of green area. In Moscow, there are some unique green areas, and I wanted to give the floor to Yelena Fokina, CEO of Tsaritsina Park and Museum. Unfortunately, yeah. Good afternoon. Thank you so much. I'm very happy to see Gary. It has been an advisor on sustainable development of Tsaritsina Preserve. So as a proposal for all of you who are here, and thank you for the invitation, by the way, on behalf of those green areas that were mentioned, that oftentimes are used for advertisement, like to building a home by the park in a green area, want to be identified as a source of a partnership, which may not be obvious, but we are interested in startups, in those people who are moving to those green areas as part of the renovation program. So we have so many parks, we have so many green areas in Moscow, so we would like to talk about safety, we would like to talk about innovations. So I would like to ask all the developers and organizations that are involved with operations. And so we are an active participant of your process. Thank you. Thank you so much. So this is a whole range of technologies that we have not, maybe have not discussed sufficiently. But green technologies across the world, and developers also have some demand, a growing demand for it. So it's not just separate parks, but it's a garden city concept. So it should be a city, it should be a garden at the same time. Unfortunately, we're lagging behind our schedule. Even though it was cold, it was still interesting. So, as a reminder, we can display QR code about Build Up program. And as residential issue, finding a home is a difficult one in Moscow, but we'll do our best to resolve it. So please cooperate, please join us, support startups. Thank you all for participating in this discussion. So for supporting us in these difficult times. Thank you.
Большое спасибо, уважаемые.
Many thanks to the participants of this session that we just heard and viewed. So now is the time to thank our partners, co-organizers of the Skolko Foundation, Web Ventures, and Web.rf. Strategic partner, Department of Entrepreneurship and Innovative Development of the City of Moscow, official digital partner of the conference, Gazprom Bank, fintech partner, Tinkoff, cybersecurity partner, Rostelecom Solar, MTS Startup Hub, Roselhozbank, and Moscow Credit Bank. Thank you all so much, dear partners.
ВК-звонки доступны везде и без ограничений. В 4К и с активным шумоподавлением. Будьте всегда на связи в ВК-звонках.
Встречайте приложение ВК-клипы. Удобный видеоредактор. Уникальные маски и эффекты. И стильные фильтры для обработки. Еще быстрее, проще, вертикальнее. Теперь в отдельном приложении ВК-клипы. Место встречи талантов.
Привет! Классно шьешь, варишь, печешь и вообще что-то производишь в Москве? Тогда сейчас самое время поверить в то, что ты делаешь, заявить о себе и занять свое место на рынке, пока другие не заняли. Смотри, это твоя дверь в новый мир. Открывай и узнай, чем мы можем тебе помочь. Москва-24 для бизнеса. Давай с нами.
Журнал «Эксперт» — это российский и международный бизнес, общественно-политические процессы, аналитика и прогнозы, рейтинги и интервью. Специальные условия на подписку на сайте expert.ru. «Эксперт» — настоящий деловой журнал.